Peter Michaels.
Patrick Bateman.
The road, the stage. A very special week here in town. The Rodeo red carpet.
Rodeo.
Do you see all the pictures on Instagram?
Of the Rodeo?
Yeah, the Rodeo red carpet.
No.
It's like straight up like
Is it really?
photo shoots and stuff. Yeah.
Paparazzi in there, getting everybody as they
so
go
much
in.
paparazzi.
Interesting. Nope.
When was the last rodeo you were at?
Somehow I missed that. Before the last CFR performance. I was at.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Honestly, it had, I don't know, probably 20 years. And I did go a lot.
Yeah, like, so that was, like, how many rodeos did you go to a year, a summer, or whatever, whenever they are? Is there a rodeo season?
Yeah. 7, 8.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, fair amount.
Yeah.
Fair amount. It's Didsbury.
Did you have, because you've talked about that movie a few times. What's that movie?
8 seconds.
The rodeo movie?
The rodeo
Is that
movie
it?
about Lane Frost.
Did you, were you familiar with the circuit? Like, did you know the players?
Yeah, honestly, I followed it pretty close for a while there, and and enough to pick apart the movie, going, that's not how.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah,
Crazy.
it's just like any movie, it's Hollywooded up
Yeah.
a little bit. But for anybody that doesn't know, it's the movie's. Why can't I think of his name?
I don't know. He died a few.
He died a few
year,
years ago. Was it 90210?
Don't know. I don't know.
Not Matthew Perry. That's Friends. Luke Perry.
Luke Perry. There
Luke
we
Perry.
go. Someone.
There it is. Whew.
He was in the new Tarantino film.
Anyways,
That's all I know.
so he plays a cowboy named Lane Frost, who
Oh,
ends
okay.
up dying in the
real person.
real person.
Oh, okay.
Who was killed by a bull.
In 8 seconds.
I don't think he lasted the 8 seconds on that bull.
Oh,
maybe.
okay. You can tell how little I know about rodeo.
Which is great.
But
There was a couple Ontario Cowboys that were
I'm sure
participating in the CFR.
So yeah, Red Deer hosts the Canadian Finals Rodeo.
Canadian Finals Rodeo.
That's what it's called.
And
yeah.
I'm going to tell you, if you want to get a hold of the best rock playlist you've heard in your life, go to a damn rodeo.
Why? What do you mean?
Like, for all the rock is dead talk,
Yeah.
not at the rodeo. The whole, from start to finish, whatever is happening on the infield, there is some kind of Metallica, AC/DC, ZZ Top. Like,
Really?
they just blare rock and roll the whole time.
During the riding of bulls?
All of it.
Huh.
I can think of one country song in 2.5 hours, and that was Chattahoochee. Everything else,
Crazy.
all rock and roll. It's insane.
Well, it was a big event in Red Deer for
Yes.
those unfamiliar with the rodeo like I am. But it's a big deal that it's here, right?
That's the championship of any
The
sport. is
national
kind
championships.
Is kind of a big deal, yeah.
So that was happening for the course of a week, I think.
5 days.
Right. Just down the road from here in the Communal Creative Studios. And we happened to snag a guest from the rodeo.
Said they do a cabaret every night.
Which is not a word I typically associate with a rodeo. Cabaret is a French word, right?
Yeah, now that you mention it, but yeah, no, it's
And typically I thought a cabaret was kind of a dark room, maybe a few candles, some variety acts.
No.
Am I wrong in saying that's
not in rural Alberta. It's not.
Okay, maybe I don't understand the definition of cabaret, but anyways, we managed to get Cory Marks here into the studio.
Another face to face, which is awesome.
They're just happening more and more.
And so, again, not a genre that you're overly familiar with.
No.
So when you go into something like this, how much time do you spend? Do you go through music? Do you try to get a feel for?
Definitely listen to his music. Did a little bit of reading, but at the same time, and I think this interview kind of proves it, I don't think you need to know a whole lot about someone's art necessarily to have a good, engaging discussion. And I don't think we talked about Cory's music for 30 minutes.
At least 30
25 minutes.
And even
like
then,
that.
I think we barely kind of.
Yeah. So
there's some really, really good conversation.
Yeah, very interesting dude from North Bay, Ontario. And yeah, I mean, what do you say? We talked about flying jets and all sorts of other things.
All the craziness that
You
goes
got to
along
hear
with
a
that.
Merle story that I'm sure you've been thinking about quite a bit.
A ton. Do we
Yeah.
give a little snippet
Nope.
of what? No?
Nope.
Okay, just
Merle
stick
Haggard
around
for
for a
those
Merle Haggard
unfamiliar.
story, which is going to blow you away.
Yeah, for sure. And if you don't know who Merle Haggard is, it's all right. It's 2021.
No, you should know
When did
who
he die?
Merle Haggard is.
It was just a few years
not
ago,
that
right?
long ago, like probably 6 years ago.
Was he the one that was at Folsom Prison when, as an inmate, when Johnny Cash did the concert?
Yeah, he did time. I'm pretty sure he was in Folsom Prison.
Because there was one of those old like classic dudes was an inmate there. I'm pretty sure.
When Merle sings about it, he knows it.
Oh, okay. Is that
He lived it.
That's the slogan?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was the name of his fourth album.
I got to learn about Merle.
No, honestly, honest to God, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like the fluff country that you're thinking it is.
Oh, well, no. And I mean, I got an appreciation for old Johnny Cash and who's that other guy? The Williams fella.
Don Williams?
No, fuck no. Hank
Don Williams, the Gentle Giant.
I like some Hank Williams
Yeah,
here
if
and
you've
there.
got an
Real old
appreciation
stuff.
for Cash,
yeah.
then Merle's right along
Okay.
there as well.
Well, was Merle in The Highwayman?
Merle was a highwayman.
With Waylon.
So it was Merle, Waylon, Johnny, and Chris Christopherson.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool.
And there's a lot of
I like
intertwining
that
between
record.
all those outlaw guys.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah,
I think
welcome.
that was Merle in
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't a highwayman.
Huh.
But anyways,
We'll fact check that later.
We should ask Cory. We should ask Cory, but we weren't exactly talking about music. So
Right.
Shout out to our producers Ryan and Ryley here at Communal Creative Studios, Bose Bar and Stage,
Ghost Services Inc.
Tourism Red Deer,
and Sawback Brewing Company, who help run this little dog and pony show.
Go like and subscribe, follow, stream, download the Road the Stage, Communal Creative Studios YouTube channel. Anything else?
Let's get talking Top Gun, baby.
Oh, yeah. The Road the Stage with Cory Marks. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's a big day. You've had some serious traveling in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, but it feels good. I mean, don't get to do it too often right now with this whole situation going on. So, but glad to be here.
It's pretty much one-offs for the most part. Like not like a setup tour. It's just playing.
I was touring out and I was out with Hailstorm across the U.S. for several dates, and then I was supposed to be out with Theory of a Dead Man.
Right.
But there was another breakout that happened, so I lost about 12 dates from that. So I only ended up doing, I think, 6 with Hailstorm, and came back home and waited for this one.
So that Theory string got wiped, and then some of the Hailstorm shows as well.
Yeah, and there was some festivals in there too.
Yeah.
And some cool slots that unfortunately just disappeared.
So what do you do to stay prepped? And like, because you could go at a moment's notice, all right. Like sometimes things are just going to pop up and you just got to go.
Yeah, I mean, I try to, I still do a lot of writing and play at home a lot and try to pretend like I'm out on the road. Yeah. Like kind of where it all started for me, where you just kind of set up at home and jam by yourself and just picture buttloads of people. And
is North Bay still home for you?
My girlfriend and I live in Sturgeon. We got a house in Sturgeon Falls, which is 40 kilometers west of North Bay.
Okay. Well, I was going to save this, but I work with someone that was raised in Sturgeon Falls.
Wow.
So I wanted to ask you if you have a favorite between the Riv chip stand or Larry's. Are you willing to
I
say?
will go Manix.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she wasn't familiar with that one.
Yep.
Okay.
I will
Interesting.
Go Manix.
Interesting.
Yep.
Is that
just our go-to? That's where we go.
And what's the order?
Usually poutine and a pogo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
So something that I was raised in the Toronto area, but I don't really know much about that part of Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned since working with this person is that it's very, very French.
Yeah, it's a francophone. Say.
Okay.
I mean, I'm French, so I went to school, did all my education in French and
full French, not just the.
You hear the way he said poutine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Poutine.
Said it so that I'm not going to repeat it myself.
and francophone instead of francophone.
Yeah.
It's a pretty large French community down there.
And from what it's in due part because there's a lot of government employees there.
I'm not sure. I think it's just kind of where the French landed. I guess
it's not too far from Ottawa, right?
4 hours.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not. It's a lot closer to Ottawa than Red Deer.
That's for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So North Bay, now in Sturgeon Falls. Now, I think I had read that you weren't initially like pursuing music, right?
Well, I was, but I wasn't. Hockey was an option.
Right.
I've always been fascinated with aviation, so I was playing hockey for the Royal Military College of Canada and enrolled as a pilot in hopes to be a fighter pilot. And that's kind of where I really started picking up a guitar and singing, and it kind of just happened. Even in music, I mean, I wanted to be like the next Tommy Lee or Neil Peart, and I could not picture myself singing and remembering all those lyrics that I tend to ask my fiddle player for before or during a song. But Yeah, no, it's been wild, and even sometimes when I get to talk about it, it's like shit, like what a roller coaster, man.
At
It's a
what
different
stage,
world.
like, does teleprompters come into like when you'll see a lot of the the big bands will use the teleprompters.
I don't know.
At what stage do you
You've
think
seen
you'd
that
be-
before?
Oh,
Yeah,
hell yeah!
yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
see well. What it is from when you're watching, it looks like monitors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They all got in ears and stuff. Like we use in ears too, but yeah, those monitors are prompts. I mean, I'll probably take one. Why not? You know.
You know what? And if you get to that point, that means you've had a pretty damn long career
Mhm.
to get to that point. So
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it, man.
Interesting. Yeah. So like you're training or you want to be a fighter pilot. Like where does that come from? You got a military family or what?
You know what? No, I would have been the first, and I'm the first pilot in the family. I got my private pilot license not long ago, and I've been working at that since I was 19. But we had an air show, and the North Bay was a big military town. We had so we had NORAD, which is situated North Bay, Winnipeg, and Colorado. That, North American Air Defense. So we had that in North Bay, which is 1 of 3 in North America.
Mm-hmm.
So we had fighter jets and all that coming in and out of North Bay. You know, since I was a kid, I would get up in class, and even the teacher would, call my parents, but say it's pretty impressive. Like he knows what the jets are and probably what they're doing here. And this is 3rd, 4th grade. Sometimes if they were cool, like the Russians and the MiG-29s would come to North Bay or something, different than our Hornets.
Yeah.
I'd get a call that my dad's here to pick me up, and he'd take me up to the airport. And yeah, so I kind of was fortunate to have a dad that would do that, take me out of. I'm not sure how mom felt about that, but I got to hang out with some fighter pilots and some cool jets. So
Yeah.
I think that's where it all stems from, was going to the air show with my dad.
That's wild. How many times have you seen Top Gun?
Oh man, I could every line in that movie. I know. Actually, that's funny you say that, because I was gonna wear my Top Gun shirt here. But actually, what I am wearing is a little snowbird shirt.
sweet.
Actually,
Very cool.
So,
and so you flew with the
I
Snowbirds.
flew with the Snowbirds in
No
2017.
way.
Yeah, that was. I got a huge Snowbird tattoo as well, and still in contact with those guys. It's like a brotherhood. I feel part of the team. Since I was a kid, I always dreamt of. It all started being a pen pal with Captain Marcus John Boy Walton of North Bay, and they came to town, and it was like a meet and greet. You can do, they're rock stars too in their own right. When they come to town, man, people get jacked up for that, and they are rock stars. They're badass, and all the men and the women on the team, and so there was like a dinner, and my mom was like, "Well, take them to the dinner so you can meet the pilots and stuff like that, right?" And I saw Snowbird number 8, which is my favorite number, and pretty much because of that. I was only like 10 years old.
Was
or
that your
something.
hockey number too?
That was my hockey number, yep. And it said Captain Marcus Walton from North Bay. It turns out my mom worked with his dad, and it's a crazy story. But long story short, we rode each other till I was in, grade 10, grade 11-ish, maybe grade 10. Kind of, lost touch, and then we started talking again, thanks to like Facebook and Instagram. And it was actually crazy. I was out on the road with Aaron Pritchett on the Outlaws and Outsiders tour. This is how it all connected. And we were in Nanaimo, BC or something. And this lady's sitting there after my show, and there's, for the meet and greet after my show before Aaron goes on. And because I was selling CDs and stuff, and this lady's sitting there, and there's a line, and she kind of stops me. I'm kind of like, well, there's quite a few people I got to kind of have to tend to. And
I'm not gonna lie. I was just thinking in my head. I'm like, shit. I didn't go into airplane mode
put mine
on my phone
silent.
yet.
Why would you put yours on silent? That's the first thing I did. But no, so I love it. Everyone's in. Shit. So now where was I? So then this lady is just chatting. She's like, I loved your set. Like, I love your blah blah blah. My husband's from North Bay. And I knew that you went to RMC and you're a pilot or want to be a pilot, and she says, my name's Gina, and it kind of rung a bell. And she's like, well, he's WestJet now, but he used to fly with the Snowbirds, and and he's from North Bay. And I just stopped her, and I'm like, Captain Marcus John Boy Walton. And she just she got teary and everything, and she's like, how do you know that? I'm like, I'm Cory, my real name's Markward.
Yeah.
I used to write him. She goes, oh my God. She goes, you're that kid, you're that guy, because he told me he got married and then they had a kid, and she just started tearing up, and she's like, we still have all your drawings that you sent Marcus, and all. It was crazy.
That's amazing.
It's really, and like we talk weekly now, but whether it's Marcus or Gina, and so now it's like Marcus coming to my shows whenever I'm in like Alberta or closer to BC, and so it was a crazy whirlwind. And then 20 years later, after there's a picture of him taking me out of Snowbird 8 when I was just a kid. I sat and looked at the controls, and he let me put his helmet on and all that stuff. 20 years later, I fly with the team in the same jet.
Oh my goodness.
And they were over at my house because what happened, I was supposed to fly in North Bay. So it was Armed Forces Day in North Bay. So I was one of the acts. There was music and air show. And so, but they didn't have anything for 3 days after that, and they were in Barrie. So it was pretty interesting. Like some of the guys slept at my house. We had a good time because they were off for 3-4 days. So I performed, and then they did their air show, and then they come over and we partied up for a couple days, and I'm showing them these pictures, and even FOMO number 8, who originally reached out on Instagram, was like, my wife's a fan, and it's actually even goes in a crazier circle.
Good God.
Oh man, it goes so and I think of this stuff all the time, and it's just kind of ironic to me, and I think it's cool. So FOMO's number 8, so it's pretty much 20 years to the date, and he's married to a girl named Emily, and I'm with an Emily. And then Snowbird number 5, Hitman, turns out we're both born October 11th on the same day. And then Nacho, who I flew with, is born on my girlfriend's birthday. They both share August 13th. And it's just like, it just goes, and now we're just, buddies. Like we call each other FaceTime. It's like now that they're off the team because they do like a 2-year stint. Obviously, you can tell I'm passionate about it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well,
But
but I haven't talked about it in a long time, but I just find it crazy how it really just all of a sudden, and I'm saying like, yeah, John Boy Walton. Oh yeah, man, he was a legend, man. Because some of them, he was teaching the Top Gun school when they were, in their early 20s, and now they're his age when he met me, and they're doing the same thing he did 20 years ago. So it's pretty cool, and I got to play their closer party.
Yeah.
So their last show is actually at home in front of their friends and family, and then it's like a kind of a party, an inaugural thing, and then the guys who are out that year welcome the new members and stuff who passed and all that stuff. So I got to be part of that, and so it was really cool. Marcus came to that, so it was really awesome. Marcus and Gina.
That's
that
crazy.
Is insane.
Finally,
Right?
a good pen pal story on the road.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Dying for
Yeah.
one.
What's funny? I can still see the kid in his eyes getting picked up from school to go. Like you're still that excited.
Oh man,
by it.
if I hear jets at home, I'm still like, I run outside, and people must think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it's still to me just, and now I have friends that are even younger than me that are flying these things, man. It's just like, there's that little part of me that's like, man, it's a cool life, but there's ups and downs with everything.
Sure.
And, part of me also says that, like, I don't think, now that I know how much work when you're younger, it's like, yeah, that's what I want to do, but I've seen the work that goes in and the kind of life that you have to have and live prior to being Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
And that's just a movie. There's days like that, but it's not, it's just like what I do, but people think it's just a big party. And but the thing is, like, that I'm learning now too, is you got to learn how to, this is what Travis Tritt said 2 weeks ago when he called me. He's like, you got to learn how to carry your guitar case in one hand, your briefcase in the other. And it's so true. Like, you have to become a businessman at the same time. That's not what I signed up for, but it's better to know and not learn the hard way.
I don't know, man. I think things worked out pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think. I
And
like to think
you're
so.
still a pilot.
Still a pilot, yeah.
Yeah.
How many hours?
About 200 now.
That's what you need to qualify, or
No, like I'm a private pilot.
Okay.
You need 100 to write the commercial exam. Which
Okay.
I'm kind of content with flying privately.
Yeah.
I'll get a night rating, maybe a multi-engine down the road, and definitely get into aerobatics and stuff like that.
crazy?
That's what I like to do. I actually have a friend who, that's another crazy story, part of that. So when they were parking all their jets in North Bay, I saw this. It's called a Yak-52. It's a Russian trainer plane. And that's what the Russian pilots train on before going to the MiGs. That's, it's a kind of ugly, rugged looking thing, but it, can pull 5 Gs positive and 5 negative. It's quite a cool machine. And I saw it in the hangar. I thought, man, that's a Yak-52. Like, that's, I saw those in air shows back when I was a kid. And I'm like, someone in North Bay has that. And it turns out the guy that had it is my old flight instructor. So then the guy's like, well, how do you know Steph? I'm like, well, he owned the flight school that I went at when I was 19, and then just kind of lost touch. And got his contact, and now he's like, that's your back seat. So whenever he flies, I go up and do aerobatics with him, and we've been flying for almost 4 years now since the Snowbird connection. So it tied all that in too. So it's pretty wild, man.
So what prepared you for those, like the aerobatics? So I was just in San Francisco about 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And unbeknownst to me, I was there for something different, but there was a big air show that weekend, and the Blue Angels were there, which I was unfamiliar with. But so I had no idea what was going on. I checked into my hotel, and all I heard was just, and I'm like, what the? And then I went out, and oh my God, it just sounded so amazing. But anyways, just watching them and doing the barrel rolls and all that. Like, what prepares you for that?
Well, there's a physical fitness that you have to have. There's, they put you in what you call a centrifuge, and it's the worst. I've never done it.
Okay,
no.
okay.
But I probably will just to see. So, basically, if you picture your arm, but you're sitting in the fist, and it's on a swivel kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just in this room, and there's a guy just like this over in the room over there. They're watching you on the screen, and it's laid out like a cockpit. And then they'll say, okay, pull back on the stick, and ready, hit it. And then you have to do this maneuver. It's called a Hick Maneuver. So it's like you inhale, and then you kind of flex your butt, flex your core for a couple seconds, and as you exhale, you inhale again. And what that does is it flexes your legs to keep the blood from rushing out of your head and passing out. So you could either black out, which is the positive G's, which pushes the blood from your head down to your legs, and that's what the Hick Maneuver is used for. So you don't pass out. But the fighter pilots have a G suit, which is like basically airbags on your legs and your waist, and they'll inflate once your G meter starts going up, and that's just to help that.
Yeah,
a little easier on you. But you can also red out, which is the negative G's, which is too much blood going to your head. So this is a positive when you pull up, when you see them pull up. But when you see the planes push over like that, like a roller coaster, when you go over a hill.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you push down, like you can actually red out, so where the blood just kind of jolts to your head, and instead of blacking out, everything just goes red, and you.
Oof.
Yeah, so that can happen too. It's there's a lot of prep that goes into it. Like I said, there's a centrifuge. You got to do there's a lot of medical stuff just to make sure you're fit for it. Actually, Nacho, who I flew with, did a transition. So he went from the Hornet to the F-16, the American F-16s, and he was fighting against these young F-22 pilots. And so it's just, he says that machine isn't insane. Before they can do anything, and they're already locked onto them. But he says he pulled, that thing's like a rocket. So the Hornets, I mean, it's my favorite, which Canada has. But some of them are limited to 7.5 G, just because they're older, and so they kind of limited. But these guys are pulling 9, sometimes 10, and it's like he says there's one time he did it, and he had bruises on his body from just literally veins bursting because of the G force.
Just in the centrifuge, or is that in actual?
In his F-16,
okay.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of F1, and G-force is a huge factor on a lot of the tracks.
Yeah.
And I mean, after hearing maybe me comparing them to fighter pilots is a little
the speed
inappropriate.
It's a different. So I think it's a Y and X axis. I think it is.
Fair.
So if you picture a rod kind of going through my body.
Yeah.
That's the G-force in a fighter jet.
Yes.
Right? But in a car, it's
turns.
It's this way. So it's more like...
Right.
It's still G-force. Yeah. But it's like when you get in an accident, right? Your body pulled fucking 80 Gs, whatever it was, right? Depending on how hard you hit and what you hit.
And they have these exercise tools. It's just like a strap on your head, and you just have to I think it just pulls you at insane
Probably just
force.
For your neck muscles and stuff?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. Yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff, man.
It's crazy.
I like this. I like that stuff.
So what's
a bit of adrenaline junkie?
Yeah. So adrenaline. Where is there any comparison in adrenaline from flying or being in that to being on stage?
I think they're two different things. You typically don't die on stage. I wasn't gonna say you can fall off the stage, hurt yourself. That's happened. But
you pretty comfortable on stage?
I mean, I think if you don't have any kind of jitters and you just don't care enough, you kind of lost. It's like Top Gun. You lost it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I still get we talk about it all the time. And she called me the other day. I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, man, have a couple drinks, you'll be fine. But
and once you get on there, once you're there, it's
first 2 or 3 songs, then you're feeling it. It's like, all right, man, this is great. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Certain parts of songs where like we played Rocklahoma. I'm the first country act to ever play Rocklahoma.
I was just going to say, so not only are you have that, but you're playing in front of a crowd that probably isn't quite used to what you're about to throw out.
I was blown away. And even on the Hailstorm tour, like it was like if they weren't singing every word right from the first song, they're at least, like feeling it. You could see, like, I've definitely played crowds where you got that guy like there's nothing you can do, like, come on guys, yeah, or you do some crazy guitar solo and he's just like just doesn't care.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that at all on any of these American dates, and Rocklahoma especially. Like there was a couple thousand that are just rocking.
And who else is on that bill? Like I know Rocklahoma's a big.
These guys were, and I got to meet them.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Steel Panther.
that's right. Yeah.
That was awesome because I'm a huge fan. Even though they're a parody band and they're really funny, they're really kick-ass musicians, and Michael Starr's a great singer, and there was Limp Bizkit was supposed to go on, but COVID, there was some shit that happened. So there was Limp Bizkit, Slipknot, man, they're like
just it's a heavy rock festival.
So, yeah, like Hailstorm, Disturbed, I think, Shinedown, like you name it, they're Mastodon.
Yeah.
So it was.
You had a good time.
I had a great time. I'm the first country artist to ever play Rocklahoma, but I'm also the first artist to get kicked out. So it was a great time.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, no,
okay,
do tell.
Or don't.
No, do.
No, it really wasn't anything, or nothing too crazy. We're just having a good time.
You just wanted to make sure that you were the first and only country artist to ever play.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's the last time we invite one of those guys.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Tyler Connolly from Theory, and he's like, "Yeah, I think the country guys definitely party and rock a lot harder than the rock guys," because he's heard some of the stories and stuff, and I kind of I go back to the Whalen guys, and it's like you can't party harder than that, man, and live like he did. So it's pretty crazy, but it's fun, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a real good time.
We have a great time, right, Ju? We have a hell of a time.
You make a mark. People are going to remember.
I've been hearing that a lot lately. It's like, I love being on the road and seeing fans and meeting people and being with. It's like a family, and it's a lot of fun. We have a good time.
Okay, so you're a kid getting pulled out of school to go see fighter jets and loving that. Now, so how did music sneak into the equation?
My dad was like, I have a very musical family.
Oh, okay.
So, even mom would play some guitar growing up and sing, and my dad too, and he played drums, so he taught me drums, the basics, and I just kind of listened carefully to Rush and Dream Theater, and then got into the metal guys like Pantera and
the obvious starters for a beginner drummer. Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Let me just learn this.
Just the easy stuff.
Yeah.
Just the simple beats.
Yeah, just the basic stuff. Yeah. You had to have a monstrous kit.
And your dad's a big Rush fan too, right? Is it a picture of you and your dad? You guys are both wearing the Rush shirts.
It's like a very special bond there because he's seen Rush I think 30 times. Wow. Before Neil joined the band, they actually played. My dad's from Toronto as well, so
was he in bands?
He was. Yeah, he was a drummer. Played for my uncle Wolf. Wolf Milestone is his name. Wolf Milestone and the Coyotes, I think that's what they were called. So they did some cross Canada stuff like
specifically in Toronto. So my dad was working with Rush before Neil hopped on in Oshawa
with John Rusty as a drummer.
I don't remember who it would have been, but I just know it was before Neil. They were all playing like high school dances and stuff.
So that's what I was going to say. They played my dad's high school dance in Toronto. So my dad saw Rush in high school. Which I think was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that's wild. That's wild.
And so my dad's seen him like 30 times, and I'm just very thankful that I got to see them. I got to see them 3 times. Unfortunately, the first time I saw them was the Vapor Trails tour, and I wanted to see him with my dad, but there's a guy from work that had another ticket, and my dad's like, just go, like, you're gonna go see Rush at the Molson Amphitheater in Toronto, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, Dad, I want to go with you. He's like, just go, take the day off school and go. So again, I'm not sure how Mom felt about that, but it was educational. All right,
that's the name of this episode.
Yeah.
Dad's getting a bad rap here, but
no, he gets it, and so we got to see Rush on the Vapor Trails tour with my dad's coworker, and then they were playing in Toronto, and we saw them at the ACC, And I even sometimes get like a little choked up thinking about it because they opened up with Time Stand Still, and my dad and I didn't say a word for like the first 4 songs, and we're sitting side by side, and then we're hugging, and then we're like, Neil, man, and he does this big solo and all this stuff, and then we're on the subway going back, and I remember we were quiet as hell, and I'm like, hey, Dad, and we were both wanted to say the same thing, and we just started laughing and hugging. I'm like, I just couldn't say anything to you. I felt like I was just gonna bawl my eyes out. He's like, me too, man. And I thought that was really sweet, a sweet moment, and I'm just glad I got to see Neil. And,
Yeah.
Like I bawled when I got that call, and it was crazy because back in the day, before all the singing thing, that's what I would do. I was in metal bands and high school bands, and then doing the top 40 thing, and I was just all drumming. Like, I'd get kicked. I'd be doing this on my desk all the time, and I'd get kicked out of class, literally like in grade 4 and stuff. Like, you did it again, So my mom would have to come to school. Like, that's embarrassing.
No, not Dad.
No,
Mom comes to that.
school.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was always mom. And yeah, so it was. I now forgot what the hell I was gonna say. Where was I, guys?
Just you're drumming.
Yeah.
And Neil. Yeah,
it
you
was
get
all-
that.
Yeah, it was up. But yeah, so I was always drumming and stuff, and that's what people knew me for.
Yeah.
People would come over, and literally I would drum for my friends would come over and be like, go play a solo, and it'd be like an hour just like hitting drums, and they would just sit there, and so yeah, when I got the call, it was like a friend from high school that I hadn't talked to, and then my brother, he's not really that kind of guy, and he's like, hey man, are you okay? I'm like, yeah man, I'm going to see Mike Tyson, and really, what's up? He's like, oh shit, you didn't hear, and then he told me, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I had to call Dad right away, and Dad I could tell he was choked up because he was just getting gas.
Yeah.
He hung up the hose right away. I don't even think he finished, filling up, and I think he kind of had his moment too. And but I was getting like, man, there's people I hadn't talked to in 10 years from high school. Man, I'm so sorry. Like it was my own dad.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like hundreds of texts, phone calls. It's like shit, like that's what you guys saw, like. It was really cool to think like some of these guys in high school that I never really talked to, they thought of like, man, I got to message Cory, 15 years later, and be like, sorry, man, I know you're probably having a hard time. So when we went to go to Aurelia to see Mike Tyson, it was kind of like, the light at the end of the tunnel, It's kind of like, well, I love Mike Tyson too, so I get to see him. But driving with my girlfriend, it was just like rush the whole way there.
Yeah.
Right? Just cranked up.
Do you have a number one Rush song?
I think, man, there's a lot. Like I used to play YYZ and all that stuff, but I think there's just different ones from different albums, and some bring me back to Dad driving me to hockey.
Yeah.
Like La Villa Strangiato
Yeah.
and the whole Moving Pictures album, because we got to see that live. So there was that, but I think for me it's probably Time Stand Still, just because that moment, and every time especially when he died, it was like, man, I turned that on and I'm eating lunch and I was like, the hell's wrong with you? I'm just bawling my eyes. I'm like, it's just so good, I went back to that moment, and anyways, yeah.
I think the one and only time Rush played Red Deer, I think it would be, I can't say. Maybe they did sometime in the early 80s, but they were supposed to play Calgary when Calgary went through the big flood.
2013, huge flood.
So and they were going to play the Saddle Dome, and
Right.
it flooded out.
Saddle Dome was closed for what, like a year and a half?
Long time.
something?
Yeah, like the whole basement. Like they had just
Yeah, it was
massive
crazy
amounts
shit.
of water in there. So they actually moved the Rush show to Red Deer. And they
Wow.
and they
Did
and
they
they
do
did
it?
they did a flood relief. They donated all of their earnings from that show to
Amazing.
flood relief. So I'm pretty sure that's the only time
You went to it?
I was there. Oh yeah,
Do you think they like pared down kind of
not
their stage?
even a little.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
even a little. It was a full blown. I'm trying to think if that was the Clockwork Angels tour. What would
Yeah,
that
Well,
have
I
if, it
been?
was,
think it
if it was
was.
2013, it'd be Snakes and Arrows.
Snakes and Arrows,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
it.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
That was
Yeah.
my
That
house
album's
jam.
killer. I really
It's
like
awesome.
that
It's
record.
just really cool. If you read the lyrics, though, it's Neil was pretty profound in the lyrics because the passing of his wife, his daughter, and then he disappeared for like 5 years. They would just get letters from Neil.
Have you read that
Still
book?
alive.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Like,
I haven't read any of his books actually. I'm not a big reader, so I probably will. Like I've read like all the biographies. So
yeah.
like Merle Haggard's and the Waylon Jennings and Willie's, and now I'm reading the new Nikki Sixx book because he sent it to me, which I thought was pretty cool. The
Yeah,
label
very
did.
cool.
Yeah.
So I want to see what it's all about and stuff, and especially being label mates. It's like kind of see what kind of shit he went through, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's just you see the glamour of like this rock star, but you don't about like the neglect that he went through, and obviously the drug
So,
addiction. All that.
Where's your
And-
copy?
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big Motley Crue fan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's understating it.
So when you say you've seen Rush 30 times, I was at their last show in L.A. in 2015.
The Rush show?
That was Motley Crue.
Oh, Motley Crue.
The
Yeah.
last Motley Crue. Not as cool as Rush.
How many times have you seen them?
21. So not
That's
quite
cool.
30.
That's really cool.
But so you're talking
21
about
is the name of
first
the
21
book.
is the new book.
Yeah.
There you go.
Plug Nikki's book.
There you go. You're welcome, Nikki.
you talk about partying pretty hard at Rocklahoma, and then you talk about Nick. So there's lessons to be learned from what Nikki went through.
Yeah.
And I do and you go through and you listen to your
fun,
album.
man.
Oh, it's so fun. I get it. And you go through and you listen to your album, and there's lots of drinking and fighting and doing all that. And now when you go from town to town, people expect that persona out of you, right? And I remember that's one thing that I took out of the dirt. And I can't remember if it was Tommy or Nikki that said that, but they said that you just show up in a town and they just expect you to drink a gallon of
Right.
vodka and snort all the coke and shoot all the heroin every single day, day after day after day, and you can't do that.
It's not like that anymore, huh, Bill? Damn it. Wrong era for me. Yeah, it's definitely, times have changed, like fortunately and unfortunately,
Yeah.
It's kind of, I just find a lot of the music industry now, you just have to, I guess in a sense, be pretty, you got to be like, you can't, it's like if you have any issues, no one wants to work with you, but we're just human. So you might be great at something, but I might have, a few issues, I'm not saying me per se. I mean,
Yep.
we all do, but you know what I mean? Now, as soon as people hear stuff, it's like, oh, I'm not working with him. But you look at the shit that, Motley Crue, what they did to their managers.
Oh,
I mean,
look at Doc
Pantera
McGee,
and all
yeah,
that
sure.
stuff, putting, firecrackers in
Yeah.
their cars. They're like smashing it with a sledgehammer, which is funny because they could just be like, I'll buy you a new one tomorrow. Who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
who cares? Now it's like.
So now is there, and maybe this will go a little too inside baseball, but is there a correlation between that being gone and kind of the decline of rock? Like, I mean, rock is still there, but
because it's an attitude, right?
it's an attitude and that
an
rebelliousness of it.
And now it's like, not that there's anything wrong with it. I think it's great. But like I said, I think that probably stems from something else, right? That those guys went through a lot of shit. So maybe it's not as heavy or as crazy because they had a great mom and dad and a great little family, so they don't have that side where it's like, are we allowed to swear on here?
Oh,
yeah.
fuck yeah.
Okay. You look at Slipknot, like fuck the world and all it's worth, every inch of planet Earth. Like, how do you come up with that? You probably got to come up from a fucked up place to talk about that.
Yep.
And to come up with that. It's you can't really, I mean, you can in some sense, but you can't really just come up with that and just have it come out of nowhere. You got to be like some of my songs, if you listen to it, it's like, oh, that guy probably got his heart ripped out of his fucking chest, Yeah, I did. And thanks for that, because that's a great album, thanks for the help, but I think it's, it's a little, it just times have changed a little bit, but, I try to, keep rock alive.
Okay, well, speaking of this,
But I'm a lover, by the way. I'm not.
Well, I
I'm
do
not an asshole.
one quick question before you jump into yours, because I was going to go around the table with this real quick too. Last time you were in a fight, an actual fist fight.
grade 7,
Okay, elementary school for me too. Last time you were in an actual fist fight, you throwing.
Oklahoma.
yeah. Well, busted a lampshade over my guitar player's nose last night.
Okay, well,
No, that was an accident. They always try to wrestle me, and it's a lot of fun. But 2 years ago.
okay,
Yep.
All right,
all right, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
found
Bill would be proud. I don't even.
I found a post about you on Reddit today. You go on Reddit a lot?
No.
Okay, so the post is called Cory Marks Christian Alternative.
Okay.
And it said, I just discovered on YouTube Cory Marks, who sings lots of modern rock country songs, i.e. Outlaws and Outsiders. If you know any Christian artists who are similar, I'm interested. So, like, were you too scary for this guy, you think?
I don't even know
You
what
got
that means.
too much of the devil in you or
I
something?
don't know what that means, man. I have no idea.
It was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest
wants
thing.
That
He wants
style
the
of-
sound that Cory puts out,
Yeah.
but
So what do you
A little
want?
more
Like,
Christian.
well, I went to church and I prayed real hard,
you recorded
and
that?
Yeah, we
and
got
I,
that?
and I
Okay.
talked to God today.
We'll ship it to him. We'll ship it to him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But I mean, I've listened to quite a bit of your music preparing for this interview. I didn't catch any subliminal messaging.
No, I don't think there's any subliminal messaging in there.
Weird. Cory is the
Weird
devil.
request.
Yeah, oh my God.
But hey,
I'm
maybe-
the devil of country.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. He did get kicked out of Rocklahoma.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
For having a good time.
There you go. There you go. Nothing
Damn
wrong with
good
that.
time.
Well, I
Before we let him get out of here, a couple of tunes.
think, yeah, I think we have plans for that.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna wing it, and we're gonna have a good time doing it. It's funny how we're gonna end on like Satan and kicking ass and all that, and we're gonna play you guys some ballads. So that's it's a lighter side of Cory Marks.
Well, thanks for hanging out, man.
Man, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much, man.
Cheers,
Patrick, Peter, and thanks for the beer, man.
We will do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I like honestly, when there's more time, because I'd like.
Yeah, I was be honest, I'm tired. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know, I don't know what's gonna be. And I walk in, I was like, holy shit, these guys are, this is because I was being told like this is like it's a really cool place. So and then I'm like, you kind of get your buzz going at the start of the day, and you're sound check, but then you start coming back down, and I was laying in bed, texting Bill my merch stuff, and I'm just like, I'm kind of really tired now,
Yeah.
And then I kind of like, all right, just got to do this. So
Obligations.
I'd be more than exactly. I'm like, you know what? This is your job, damn it.
Yeah.
So I'd love to come back if you guys would have me back.
That's what we want to hear, man.
We could chat. We could chat more, drink more beer.
I grew up the same, like listening to Maiden and Megadeth and Motley Crue and Judas Priest.
Can I play
But
with madness?
also, I'm from rural Alberta, so a lot of Haggard and Waylon and Johnny and like all that shit too is.
I'm a big Merle Haggard fan.
Yeah, me too.
So
Yeah,
the
I love
Hag.
Merle.
Long live the Hag, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Next time.
Did you see that? Did you ever see him live? The Hag?
The first tour bus I was ever on was the
Get
Super
outta here.
Chief. I should write that song. I hung out with Merle Haggard.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, and that was also one of those signs. I think it was in 2013. This hockey rink that I grew up playing hockey in, and so I got to tell them the story. My whole family. That's one thing that I left out. So before going on with the story, my whole family on my mom's side was very musical up in Earlton. It's 2 hours north of North Bay, a little farm town where she grew up. So she's the baby of 8. And so I'm the last one born, like out of all the cousins and everything. I'm the baby as well of the whole family, but I'm born on the same day as my papa, October 11th.
Wow.
So we're the evil twins.
Yeah.
65 years apart. So that's kind of where all that music came from, and all that kind of stuff. And I can tell I'm tired because I'm like, where the hell are you going with this, man? Oh, the Merle Haggard thing.
We're getting on Merle's bus.
So then. So my whole family, that whole side of the family, he came to North Bay in 2013. So it was like all of us, sitting in a couple rows and stuff. And it was so cool. Like, see the Hag in his black suit and his black hat. And it's funny because I heard the story because I noticed he just like looked at the lights and he was just kind of there for a good couple minutes. But I heard from the promoter just 2 years ago when I was with Travis Tritt that he was just absolutely so baked out of his mind that he was just looking at the lights, just kind of like, all right, man, here we go. So it's at my hockey arena, and my whole family's leaving, and I just had this like, I got a feeling. I'm like, I'm gonna go see if I can get on the bus or like just meet him, something, get something signed, anything. But prior to that, over social media, I was talking to Ben Haggard, his son, who was playing guitar.
Yeah.
And I met Ben earlier that day in the parking lot. We got a picture together and all that stuff. And then, so I'm going through. So I start walking but it's my old hockey rink. So security, instead of being like, you can't be back, is like, hey, Cory, man, how you doing? I'm just going, yeah, go for it. So I get out back. Here I am, and there's the Super Chief. And I'm like, man. So I see the driver there, and he's got this big old accent, and he's talking like this and stuff. He's like, yeah, man, we're just shooting the shit, and he's from Oklahoma. I'm like, well, my brother plays for the Oklahoma City Barons, the hockey team, for the farm team for the Oilers. Oh, yeah, man, I've been in a couple games, man. And well, hold on a second. I'll go talk to Merle. I'm like, okay, we'll probably get something signed, whatever. And this other guy comes up, and he's like, Merle's on my guitar. My sister died, and I was really sad. I'm like, well. So he brings the guitar on the bus and gets it signed, and then he comes back out, and that's where our conversation started. So I'm thinking like, well, man, there's no way he did that, and I'm, whatever. So he opens the door. All right, Cory, Merle would love to meet you. And I'm just standing there kind of like looking up, and he basically looks at me, he's like, are you coming in or not? I'm like on the bus? He's like, yeah, man, Merle, love to see you. So I walk on the bus, and there's Ben on his laptop. He looks at me, he's like, hey, Cory, how you doing? And he's like, yeah, my dad's in the back and wants to meet you. And my heart's just racing. And I'm like, I'm on this tour bus. And there was Merle Haggard with a little joint in the ashtray. And he's just sitting there. And he's like, Cory, nice to meet you. I said, Mr. Haggard, And I showed him my tattoos. I got Mama Tried Here and Sing Me Back Home. For when my papa died, I got his initials with his fedora that he always wore and Sing Me Back Home.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think it's very cool, and just keep writing, and it was just I was in, that was my first like not fangirling, but you know what I mean. I was just in shock.
Yeah.
And what's that? Starstruck. After that, like I can meet anybody at this point,
Sure.
and I'm just, I respect them and everything, no doubt, but it's like I hung out with Merle Haggard, and I'm good.
It doesn't get any better
It
than
doesn't
that.
get any better than that. So that's
Wow.
my Merle Haggard story. So I got to hang with Merle, and I gave him my EP. He signed a picture for me. He gave me his pics he used that night, which I still have, and we got a really good picture together, and that's something I'll never forget. And I remember going back to Mom and Dad's. I woke them up because it was like, I don't know, 12 at night or whatever, and I bust in the house in the room, turn the lights on there, and what the hell? I'm like, and he's like, oh, he signed a picture for you. How nice. Like, my dad was so stoked. Right? You got, look, I got his pics too. And then I fucking show him my phone. My mom's like, no fucking way. I'm like, Dad, the first tour bus I was ever on. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, I met Merle Haggard. And yeah, I think that's a good wrap on this.
That is a good wrap.
I met the Hag.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. So now I just kind of hope I make him proud, and I know my stuff's a little edgier, but you'll hear some of the stuff that we do is definitely Haggardous.
Was Merle a highwayman? We're trying to figure that out. Pete's doing a quick wiki search. It's got to be Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings. What about John Denver? Was he a highwayman? Johnny D?
Fucking Willie Nelson.
That's kind of
Willie Nelson, not Merle Haggard.
that seems like an obvious one. No?
I'm not going to be allowed to go back home.
All right. Well, anyways, shout out to Cory Marks for joining us on the road to the stage. That was fun.
What a cool guy.
Yep. Yeah. Real interesting fella.
I can't imagine.
What a life.
Wow, what a life.
So yeah, go check his tunes out and go follow him on social media.
And he's working on a brand new album right now, as a matter of fact. I think from this interview, he played Canadian Finals Rodeo.
Yeah.
And then to Vegas and is recording.
Oh shit! When did you just been creeping him or what?
Creeping him, oh yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
We're besties. We got the Hag connection now. So
you guys are talking.
We're best friends.
You now have a Merle Haggard story vicariously through Cory Marks.
And I will tell that damn story for sure.
Yeah, again, huge thanks for him joining us, taking time out of, he came here right after soundcheck, I think, right?
I think he was
or getting ready to go to soundcheck.
And, he was very open with us and said that the last thing that he wanted to do.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I wonder.
I think he finished soundcheck and then he was back at the hotel, and I think they'd had a little bit of a late night.
Yeah.
Before.
Big time late
and
night.
it definitely admitted that doing the interview was probably the last thing on his to-do list.
But he had a good time.
I think we had a really good time.
Yeah, for sure. So go check that out and like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to the Communal Creative Studios channel yet, I don't even want to say what I'm thinking.
I don't know what more we got to do. Remember how persistent you were with getting Cadence Weapon an episode previous?
Yeah, but I respect him.
Okay. That's the... All right. He does know some limits. He has limits.
So yeah, that's a big difference. I mean, again, if you haven't done it at this point, I don't know what to tell you.
You're not just going to go out and start slapping folks around?
No.
Okay.
No, not even that. Just pure disappointment.
Just subscribe already.
And check out our sponsors. Of course, Beau's Barn Stage, which is just going to start getting crazy, which I'm sure we'll talk about more and more as the weeks and next episodes of The Road to the Stage come on. But yeah, we're getting back to things, man.
And there's some gig beer at the shows from Sawback Brewing Company.
Yep, Go Services Inc. Thank you for hanging out. And Tourism Red Deer.
And of course, a shout out to Ryan and Ryley, our fantastic production team.
Producers or something. All right. When are we back next, Pete?
Wednesday. Oh, the whispers are bad though, right? No whispers?
The Road to the Stage is produced by Ryan Kuly and Ryley Surian at the Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta. In partnership with Go Services Inc., Sawback Brewing Co., Tourism Red Deer, and Beau's Bar and Stage.